Greetings, everyone. I am Eric Paulson with Your Essential Practice. First, a couple announcements to get out of the way. I have a bunch of hydrosol smudges, rune readings available from me directly to you. Just email me at youressentialpractice@gmail.com. Also, on the 11th of October, I will be on a very special podcast guest speaking and being interviewed by the very wonderful, very spiritual and gifted Marigold Era on her podcast called Let's Create the Revolution Together. I'll leave the links in the description below. But for today's rune reading, we're doing Mars going into Scorpio. A lot of us are going to go deeper into that introspection about how our relationships are going and maybe being a little more self-protective and really digging deeper as far as those sort of aspects are related. So what does that mean about those current energies that are coming up over the next few weeks? Let's dive into the runes and see what that means. All right, folks, how are we feeling today? Let's cleanse this space energetically with the singing bowl here, and also representing uncommon abundance with this $2 note. We're going to give gratitude for all of the uncommon abundance in our lives and invite more in simultaneously as like attracts like in this universe. 3 deep cleansing breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Yeah, so how's that Venus and Virgo feeling? Yeah, we got Mars going into Scorpio on Wednesday. Mars in the Scorpio on Wednesday. So for some of us, this might be a very, very beautiful reading. For others of us, it just might be a little bit of a warning, all right? Just to remind ourselves that when we are going in the deep, watery depths, the emotional depths of Scorpio, that we're being kind to ourselves and to others, that we're not being so defensive, right? Because we can get wrapped up in ego down in those depths as well. So for the past energies here, we have the rune manas. This is the self. This is humanity. This is culture. This is the 3D labels we place on things, our expectations, right? Our place in the world, how we view things, very ego-minded. Okay. For the current energies, we are in our disciplines, our self-sacrifice. This is the rune of victory, like up arrow, meaning of victory, right? This is Tiawaz is the name of the rune. This is the God Tears rune, right? All right, so a lot of that self-discipline, the self-sacrifice, the being in justice, right? And addressing the needs for future growth. This is the rune called Now This. I like to call it Now This because you're walking down that path and all of a sudden now this, there's this log or this branch blocking your path that needs to be addressed. So this is addressing needs fully in the future energies here. And I do believe we have this in our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. In the last rune reading, right? So action taken for the best outcome is to move forward in our legacies. This is Othala. This is the rune of inheritance, of income. This is of our foundations, our legacies, like what inherent beliefs are we passing on? What are we doing to lead by example, right? So our thoughts, feelings, and emotions are in this divine feminine. This is Lagas, this is, Laguz. This is the lake rune. This is divine feminine's rune, as I had stated. This is the sea, the lake. This is flow. This is prophetic dream work. This is even quite literally in some aspects is dowsing, right? So our thoughts, feelings, and emotions are in that healing of the divine feminine, right? We've been working a lot on that healing, that divine masculine, right? And so now with this being the watery sign of Scorpio, we're getting into more of that divine feminine work, more of those prophetic dreams and really digging deep into our emotions. right? So possible problems are losing our grounding. This is the Ox Rune. This is Uruz. This is about courage, about strength, about natural vitality, getting out into nature, or natural healing work. So we have a lot of that self-sacrifices. Make sure we're not giving up too much of our footing when we're going in and addressing those needs and getting into our emotions. It's easy to get swept up in those undercurrents, right? Because I believe one, like Scorpio is probably like the deepest water sign that I can think of, right? So these, when we're getting wrapped up in these foundations, like how deep are we going? Really, don't lose yourself in this, right? Keep a firm eye on that aspect, but don't, this is like calling you to, I believe this rune reading today is more of a warning just not to be so stuck and rigid. This is the ice rune, okay? So possible outcome is a standstill. If we're not doing this, our water can get frozen. We can go so deep and get so involved with this and lose our footing and lose our natural healing powers that we're going to be forced with repeating lessons and being rigid and being stuck. This is a call to be firm like ice, be galvanized, right? This is, I like to see this as in the lighter position of the outcome position that this is in. This is not a very, what's usually looked at as a very beneficial rune to be in this position, okay, because we're at risk of being rigid and stuck and having to repeat life lessons here. So with Scorpio, Mars and Scorpio, it's really good to keep yourself into check, be in your self-disciplines like you currently are, just not, I understand you want to fully address those needs and leave behind a very healthy legacy, right, and foundation for yourself and for others. How are you leading by example is the question I want you to keep asking yourself while you're addressing that divine feminine aspect, right? Because we're at risk here of losing our grounding or losing our natural healing abilities. Right, when we get too swept up in ourselves and how, and our emotional work and how we're coming across to ourselves and to others, right? Just go easy on yourself, please. I know a lot of us are fed up with repeating these cycles, so now we're feeling like this is maybe an urgent do or die where we're really wanting to address that aspect of the divine feminine. Just be done with that. Just be careful with Mars and Scorpio, everyone. It is easy to get too swept up into your convictions, into your self-beliefs. Make sure you're looking at this perspective of where you come from. Never forget where you come from. Okay, because this discipline and is not calling you out to be a martyr. Okay, you don't want that martyr type energy. You just want to move through and addressing these needs in a healthy way. Yes, don't take any crap from other people, but also don't take that unnecessary crap from yourself. Right? Don't beat yourself up. Okay, this is something that will take time, so you're called to be very patient. It's really hard to do when Mars and Scorpio collide, but it's a very thorough energy. It's a very potent energy. It's a very powerful energy. It's a very healing energy. If you just simply let it be, don't try to force the outcome, or you'll be stuck and frozen into these repeating patterns, right? Let's address these needs fully and peacefully move on, always remaining in your discipline with that natural healing, and make this, instead of being rigid, maybe more like being galvanized, right? And toughening that external layer, right? All right, so let's get some cards for clarity. These are the Soul's Journey cards. These are messages straight from Spirit, straight from Source, directly to your soul, to your spirit. So, Divine, what message do you have for us today? And boy, before I could get that word out of my mouth, those words out of my mouth, you gave us a card. So thank you, thank you, thank you. This is about success. It says, I know that there is no greater goal than to love. Look at that beautiful mandala as well. I know there is no greater goal than to love. Beautiful, beautiful. And if we just keep that in mind, we'll breeze right through this. You know, it's not as heavy as it looks. Right? Let's read about this success card that we've just pulled. Again, it says, I know that there is no greater goal than love. Success can mean many things to the ego self, but the soul, only knows one triumph, and that is love. When your soul is no longer manifested in the physical dimension, it is a time of reflection on how successful it was with that big endeavor. Were you meeting those needs? The soul doesn't care how big your house was, or how nice your car was, or how many bank accounts you had. Right? That's that 3D stuff. The soul only cares about how you expressed love and compassion. Right there. In the infinite wisdom of the universe, the more you love and demonstrate, the more you will receive. Let me read that again for you. In the infinite wisdom of the universe, the more love you demonstrate, the more you will receive. The more love you demonstrate, the more you'll receive. Lead by example, yes. And even your ego's definition of success is altered. Your notion of how you will be perceived as successful will change. The material things that you thought would make you happy will not have the same appeal. Through everything that great love filter must be used for, right? Don't forget to use that great big love filter. Imagine this like a coffee filter, right? Pass every thought and action and deed through that, right? So ask yourself, am I perceiving this with love? Am I responding to it with love? Am I thinking about it with love? Am I acting about it with love? If your answer to any of those is no, then you know where you need to heal, right? Let's get some more clarification from the fairies. The fairies have some wonderful insights for us as well. So fairies, what message of clarity do you have for us for today's rune reading on Mars entering Scorpio on this Wednesday? Mars and Scorpio. Fairies, please show us clearly what message you have for the collective for Mars and Scorpio meeting up. This love and success, this filter, this warning of being rigid is all coming up in our reading today. Please show us some clarity. Fairies, what sort of clarity do you have to offer for us today? You want that card? Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Spiritual teacher, your life purpose involves teaching others about healing and spirituality. Beautiful card, beautiful card. Let's read some more about that. Again, this says your life purpose involves teaching others about healing and spirituality. Is this your call to action? A lot of you, is this your call to action? Those prophetic dreams, those addressing needs, are you leading by example, your prophetic dream work? Are you hesitant in your disciplines? Is this rune reading for you? Are you being called to be a spiritual teacher? Are you passing everything through that love filter, or are you acting out of fear and reservations and saying, well, let's just take that rose quartz away for today? let's just say, I'm in my head and I'm apprehensive about starting a new practice. Well, then congratulations, you'll be repeating this lesson. You'll have the opportunity to repeat that lesson until you learn from it, right? How are you leading by example, right? This lapis lazuli will help you with your intuitive, your divine communication, your throat chakra healing work, okay? So a lot of that comes into play when you are leading by example. So that comes down to your self-talk as well. How are you talking to yourself? How is that mirror work going? Let me know in the comments below. All right, you drew this card because you've asked about your life purpose and career direction. This card indicates that you are a born teacher who gives advice and information to strangers, friends, and family members. Your natural counseling and teaching abilities will serve you well in a professional way. You may start out on a part-time basis and build up to a full-time career. If you need additional training, your inner guidance will direct you. Ask the fairies to help you with this training, including paying for it, right? Ask the fairies for that help in the financial realm too. And they'll open the doors for you in many ways. Additional meanings for this card are investigate a career as a counselor or a psychologist, or write articles or books and submit them to publishers, or a message about a spiritual teacher validates your intuition, or give a workshop, or finally, start charging money for your counseling and healing sessions. How many of you are doing that for free? How many of you have bad relationships with money? How many of you are still in your heads about that, like asking for an energetic exchange? That's what money is, y'all. It's an energetic exchange. You can be okay with asking for some sort of compensation for your energy, for your investment, you can be okay with that. Let's pull a chakra token for today's healing work for this. Oh, look at that, beautiful. So with that, Mars and Scorpio, I know I was talking about throat chakra, but this root chakra kind of goes hand in hand with that. Okay, so that's 396 hertz, 396, and that's the solfeggio frequency for the root chakra. So you can look up here on YouTube, 396 hertz. Just listen to it. You can passively absorb this and it'll help you with your root chakra work, right? The root chakra is the first chakra and it's located at the base of the spine. This chakra is associated with survival, safety, and security. Someone with a blocked root chakra would typically be fearful and anxious. What were we just talking about, right? Listening to 369 hertz solfeggio frequency will help to stimulate the part of the subconscious brain that is associated with this blockage and help to unearth negative belief systems and feelings residing deep in the subconscious mind. When your root chakra is unblocked, you should feel secure, connected to your body, and grounded into that discipline, right? You'll be more into not risking this, but you'll be more into your grounding work then. And you will be feeling more galvanized instead of more stuck, right? You'll be rigid in all the good ways instead of all the negative ways, right? How we perceive this energy is all up to us. Life is a series of continuations that get to happen to you, right? That get to happen for you, right? It's not happening to you, rather. It's happening for you. So everything is an opportunity to learn, to grow, to heal that divine feminine, right? To move on into glorious and beautiful, beautiful ways. The root chakra mudra and mantra, okay? Let's go over that. We start off in the prayer position here. The mantra is LAM, L-A-M. Okay, and we're going to be locking first these first two fingers, the index and the thumb. We're interlocking them so they cannot come apart, right? We're going to leave the middle fingers pointed up and we're folding in these bottom two. Okay? and that is the hand mudra in its lam. You can hold this down in front of you and point it directly at your root chakra, right? And say lam, lam, lam. 396 hertz playing all the while, right? And just feel that beautiful energy, that red glowing light at the base of your spine beginning to feel warm and to tingle and to begin to heal and cement your legacy. Lovely rune reading for everyone. I've been Eric Paulson with Your Essential Practice. And just as a reminder, we're starting off in that prayer position, right? And we are folding in. I'm going to show you the reverse way. Folding in those four fingers, the pinky pinky and the ring fingers, right? And we're interlocking these other four, okay, the index and the thumb, right? And we're going to leave the middle fingers pointed up, right? We still have those together. We're still folded in right there, right? And we're going to point this down to our root chakra. Yep, right down there. And we're listening to 396 hertz. And we're thinking the color red at the base of our spine, and we're reciting the mantra Lam, 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 Lam. All right? This is not doom and gloom. This is probably just a warning for many of us. Start charging for that spiritual work. Like, do you have an unhealthy relationship with yourself and with money? Or are you going way too deep and being way too in your convictions about your emotional depths and understandings, how you're coming across to others? Remember that you need to be leading by example, right? And believe me, I too take my own advice and use these videos to help myself, because everything that I'm sharing with you are things that also I need to work on, right? So let's all get together in the comments and talk about this, right? Beautiful, beautiful reading. Overall, you can't go wrong when you are in your essential practice. Namaste. Have a blessed and abundant day.